Hello, and welcome to Making Sense of It. This is our program to you from the Glasser Institute for Choice Theory, just giving little nourishing bites about reality therapy and choice theory and lead management and how they are effective in our everyday living. And so, our speaker today is the renowned Wendall Walker, and he is here and he's going to be sharing with us about the teaching choice theory psychology and the benefits of having a guided note to keep you up to date on what's going on. So welcome everyone. Hello, Wendell. Hello, hello.
Thank you. Mona, you said there would be a round of applause right after the introduction.
Oh, yes. Here we go. James is
Thank you,
already
Ed. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Jim. If you're not getting what you want, sometimes you need to ask.
There you go.
Especially if it's done in a humorous way. But it also is an interesting thing about it. Also, the participants in the group that may be sitting there waiting, and somebody will start that, then all of a sudden they're physically and is this a good word? Animatedly involved. They're not just passive now, they're doing something now. And a few of them will chuckle too. I'm in the description of the program, I'm a copious note taker. So here are my notes from your program on Monday. Notes everywhere and circles and highlights and what have you. And that works well because a month from now I can pull it out and I'd say, what was those four elements of a true conflict? And I've got them. But the problem is taking notes. I was telling Jim last night in a conversation, the person's talking fast and moving through. And so I say, Jim, what was number 3? Because I missed that, I moved on, so you miss some information and I miss some of the richness of the explanation with metaphors and explanations and stories. So there's benefit to taking a lot of notes and there's benefit to listening and kind of taking it into the whole body. Sometimes people give out handouts with all the information there and I don't have to do any work at all. I like this idea of a guided note-taking instrument because it involves the audience, but most of the information is there for them too. And I started this, I developed this handout in January of '98 is when I typed it up. After I was doing practicum supervision with people, and they'd already learned a good chunk of choice theory, and so we wanted to review it. And you do a review with people in the advanced intensive training also. So the review, this was especially helpful in the review. What I'm going to choose to do today, I like to say choose and choice regularly because every bit of it's a choice, almost every bit of it's a choice. I'm going to ask participants, and you could say, I'll pass. I don't know, don't embarrass me. I'm going to ask participants just to go around and we'll take these 1 through 20 and you figure out what you think, what words go in here. Some of them, the words are exact, like 1 + 1 is 2. It's not 3, or St. Louis is in Missouri or whatever, but some of them may be arbitrary. But I like to teach us as close to the accuracy as I can of Glasser's work. And then if I add something else in, let people know that that's my stuff and not theirs. So who might start us off with item number 1? Oh, here's the handout. Thank you. Item number 1. Who might start us off with that? Make a guess. No penalty for saying something that may be different or incorrect or what have you. Who'll jump in there? Thank you, Jim. Oh, I thought he had his hand up. I'm sorry.
Well, we are not controlled by externals, even though we may think we are,
Yeah.
or by the things that
Yeah, I'll
other
jump in
influence.
there. I apologize. I was trying to fix my Zoom here. I'm struggling with my Zoom a little bit, but
Gene or Jeans or,
yeah.
or a female
see.
named Jean.
What would you like me to go for number one?
Your time is up. I'm sorry.
Oh, gosh, but I knew that, Pat. I
So,
knew that.
yeah. Oh, okay. All right. All right. You get a
Mr.
second chance.
Sajak, please, can I have another try?
Please, Jim, please.
Okay. We're not controlled by
Next.
external forces or
Mhm.
other people.
Yeah, I've got other people or outside external forces or events, you know.
Okay.
So we all get the idea, but especially other people or outside events or external events. I like both of those too. Let's come around. What about number two? Who might take number two? Jump in there early. Pick one that you know, and then leave the difficult ones for other people. If number two sounds like one you know, jump in there.
I nominate Mona.
No one can make me do anything. And conversely, I can't make anyone else do anything.
Mona gets 100 on that quiz. Now, Mona, sit back because we've got 4 or 5 other people to go through. Welcome, Diane. So, Diane, I'm asking people to just take a turn and fill in some of the blanks. Most of them are fairly narrow in what the words are, but some of them have several different concepts too. Number 3, who'll take number 3? Jump in, jump in. Sharon's jumping up.
Yeah, okay. We are internally motivated and our behavior is always the best we can do at any one moment.
Very good. The best we can do. Yeah, internally motivated is the key word. The best we can do at the time. And we could add in there purposeful. Our behavior is always purposeful. Yeah, so that's a good example of how several words or concepts can go in there. And jump on this one. Where's Ann? Did Ann leave us? She may have left us. Okay. And this is an easy one. No, Ann. Diane.
Oh, all people have 5 basic needs, which are, I don't know, internally instructed. I don't know what.
Well, you're right. You're right. The word that I've got in mind is genetically instructed.
Oh, genetically. Okay.
Yeah, no, but internally, I like that. You know, inherently instructed or what have you. But look at the powerful significance of that when we say that something is genetically instructed. That means it's there. We don't have to learn it. It doesn't mean we're totally controlled by it, but it is. I'm fascinated. Here in Florida, they do a big thing during turtle egg laying seasons, and they rope off the beaches, and the mother turtle lays hundreds of eggs. Now the turtles and they hatch and they go straight out to the water, the Gulf of Mexico. They don't head for the boulevard that's 50 yards that away. They inherently go right to the water. So it's critical. It's really important to understand that the needs are genetically instructed. Number 5, what does Glasser, what do we typically call the basic needs? Anybody at all? Jump on this one. This is an easy one. They get harder as we go along.
Well, love and belonging, power, freedom, fun, and security.
And what?
I said security. What do you call it?
Okay. All right. That's a good one. Glasser officially calls it survival, but
Survival.
that fits right in there. Yeah, right in there. So there we go. So coming along, we've got that the needs are, we're always purposeful behavior, we're internally motivated, the needs are genetically instructed, and there are these 5 needs. And then number 6, we start to develop ideas of what? Who will take that one? No penalty for throwing out a word that may or may not coincide with what other people. What?
Pictures in our
That's
head,
a good one.
what we want,
Yeah, of what we want. Yeah,
our basic needs. These
yeah.
are the
We
way,
develop ideas or pictures in our head of what we want, and those are the ideal ways that we try to meet our basic needs. Okay. Number 7, these pictures, wants make up what is called our.
I can do it. I'm invisible, but I'm here. Our
Go
quality-
quick. What?
Our quality world picture.
Yes, yes, yes. Made up of our quality, it's called our quality world. One of the things that I've always liked about Glass's work, reality therapy, choice theory, the quality school ideas, lead management, is I don't have to learn a whole lot of new technical jargon. You know, we've always said to people, what do you picture what do you picture yourself doing after you graduate? You know, that sort of thing. So these are nice, common, everyday phrases. Number 8, who will take number 8? All we can do is,
behave.
all we can do is behave.
And we, in the real world, we, so real world, so all we can do is behave and we, I forget.
Behave.
Behave. Well,
That's what I would have said.
it was too simple for an intellectual mind like Jim to use the same one. Surely there's got to be another
Surely,
piece
surely.
of good
So
combination.
surely is the word that goes in there?
Yeah.
And we
All we
surely
do-
in the
All
real
we
world?
can do is behave, and we behave in the real world to try to get what we want in order to meet our basic needs. That's not like some kind of a little poem or something, you know. Okay, so we've got these genetically instructed needs, and we get pictures in our head about it, and behavior is purposeful. We behave in the real world to try to get where we want. Number 9.
On your mark, get set, go.
Yeah, this is a gimme. This is a
What
6-inch
should we take?
gimme
in
putt.
your 5 basic
Number
needs?
9 is an old school thought.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
right.
Vision, hearing, tactile,
Tasting,
what?
tasting.
Tasting, yeah.
Yeah.
Smelling.
Mm-hmm. I've got seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, and hearing.
Right.
See, I don't do the hearing thing because my hearing's so bad, so.
Yeah, oh yeah, there we go. Well, that's a good point. But I mean, that's how we take information. Well, we just take a quick aside. If my vision is impaired, then the information I take in may not be right. I've looked up, when we used to have telephone, pay phones and a telephone that had not been ripped all up, and I stopped somewhere to try to look up a phone number. And I dialed the wrong number because I mistook a 3 for an 8 or something like that, you know. So I took in information, but it wasn't accurate because my vision was not accurate. And if people lose their sense of taste or smell sometimes with medication, but and you could process that a good bit. We selectively, and I don't take in all information. As I'm driving from here to the tennis club, I don't look at every car, every house, every tree. And somebody say, oh, did you see that new building? They just broke ground on construction. And I say, no, I didn't see it. Well, you went right by there. Yeah, okay. Well, I didn't notice it. I was looking somewhere else. I selectively take in information. Okay. All right. So I take in information too. I was going to take a brief moment aside. I don't know how many of you get a sense or have an experience of taking in information from the world, from other people through some other sense, maybe like a sixth sense other than these five. But my wife, Dawn, is considerably psychic. And I'm in the 59 and a half years that we've been married.
Wow.
I've seen many examples. We were in Europe and Germany, and we had gone down to southern Germany on the weekend, and did some stuff, and then we went out for dinner, and then she got quiet and very pensive, like in a trance. And I said, what is it? And I said, she says, we've got to go back. I've got to call she had a twin sister at that time, who's now deceased. I've got to call Donna. Something's happened to David. Well, where did that information come from in the restaurant? And we had no information that David had been sick or ill or anything at all. And sure enough, she called and he had had a heart attack and was recovering. But so you could, if I talk about that in a training thing, I would talk about that aside from Glasser stuff. So and also to acknowledge and affirm what some people in the training or in the group would personally experience, because sometimes they get naysayers or disbelievers or what have you. And I think it's always good to acknowledge that. We selectively take in information through our five basic senses of seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, and hearing. Going on to number 10. That information is processed and becomes perceptions in our whoa. Soda, you've had 2 or 3 gifts that have
Perceived world.
all right. Sharon Jackson coming in with a bam. Was that what you were going to say, Jim?
I was still back on number 9. I wanted to make a comment, but we'll yeah, number 9 or number 10.
But Sharon has it exactly. We have our real world, our quality world, and our perceived world. Go back to number 9.
World. There it is. Okay. All right.
Number 9.
Well, number 9, I appreciated you're expanding on that a little bit. I had an experience a couple of months back I wanted to mention. I've always been aware of Helen Keller, and I've always liked Helen Keller. And I kind of stumbled upon the Helen Keller Museum a few months ago.
Oh.
And how fascinating was that to watch a film of her actually, so she was blind and deaf, and of course, as a very young child, and didn't learn how to speak at that point. And then, of course, she was acting out because she didn't have any perception of the world around her. She didn't know how to relate to the world around her. And eventually her family had hired somebody to help her learn to perceive the world around her. And just very fascinating that she became a world speaker, mostly through learning tactily.
Wow.
Learning how to speak tactily, although she couldn't hear herself. So
Where's the museum located?
It is in Tuscumbia, Alabama, I believe.
Estumbia?
Tuscumbia, T-U-S T-U-S-C-O-M-B-I-A.
Yeah. Well, I guess we could Google it. Yeah, a lot of Native American names throughout Alabama.
Well,
Hey,
and
thanks for that.
there's a very rich Native American heritage there that, you know, is like when you go through the local parks and stuff like that, there's all kinds of information plaques and stuff like that about Native American history there. And they have a whole park in regards to that, and monuments and stuff like that. It's really nice.
All right,
It's a-
I hope the rest of you won't say, if somebody says, well, how was that program the other day? I hope you won't say, I didn't learn anything. You learned where the Helen Keller Museum is. All
Yeah.
right. Number, oh,
11.
so number 10, this, I guess, did we do that? This info is processed and becomes perceptions in our, well, Sharon said it, perceived world, right?
Yeah.
All right, here we go now. Number 11. Actually, this kind of goes through the choice theory chart. Number 11. Having taken in this information and processing it and arriving at some perceptions. Number 11, we then make a comparison between what we
Want and what we perceive we have. When there's
Okay.
difference between these two, we experience a frustration or pain. And this is our motivation to behave.
Or signal, maybe.
A signal, yeah.
Okay.
say that again, Sharon.
Signal, that's what Sue said too.
Oh, yes, oh, signal, yeah. And next week, when I'm talking about control systems, that's the key word. They use error signal, ERROR, you know. Yeah, when there's a difference between these two, we experience an urge to behave, a signal, a frustration signal, an imbalance in our scales. All those could fit right in there. And sometimes it's very helpful to have two, if I don't lose the accuracy of the information, have 2 or 3 different ways to explain it, because one may connect with somebody and another may not. I do like to use whatever words Glasser's using so that they're not walking away with something that I said as reading the gospel. This is our urge, our motivation to behave.
Okay.
Number 12, in this whole scheme of things, what is it that when we said other people can't control us and we don't have control over the outside world, what is it that we can change? We may,
Thoughts,
thoughts, okay, yeah. Our thinking,
behaviors,
I interrupted you, sorry.
behaviors. I mean, is this the thoughts we can
Yeah.
change? Is this the car, the thoughts, the behaviors?
Yeah, I thought.
The doing actions.
There you go. We change what we do and what we think.
This is a tough one because I was looking, I was a little bit stumped there, Wendell, because I automatically wanted to think of we can change our total behavior and give the 4 parts, but you only have 3 blanks. So total behavior doesn't fit in there.
It does, and I can see now, for example, we said, certainly what was just said is accurate. We can change our thinking, our thoughts. We can change our action, okay? Originally, what I had in mind is that we can change our behavior, okay? But where am I?
Our perceptions.
Behaviors. And we can change our perceptions.
Well, number 12 really is total behavior. It's just that the physiology is indirectly.
Yeah,
Changeable.
exactly. Yeah.
But
And
we can directly change our thoughts, our actions, and even our feelings.
yeah. So anyway, what I have in there, this is not the way to do it. I have in there, an extremely effective avenue for working with a client would be talking with them about wants that they have, pictures that they have that may be totally unreasonable at the moment. And I have to find a way to discuss that with them to try to ask for more information without criticizing or whatever. I did a role play. I did about 30 training sessions for the Department of Corrections in Georgia, and usually 2-day things. And I would do a couple of role plays. And so one time I was doing a role play and there was a guy, and he's kind of, all these were prison staff. And he's role playing a guy that he knew in the prison, and the guys, like this and so forth. And so I said, well, if and when you get out of here, what's something that you'd like to do? What's something, well, I like reading. No G on that reading. I like reading. Okay.
Read.
Yeah. Well, what do you read? And the guy in the role play proceeded to say, well, we got a library and I read this and this and this. And I found it all to be believable. I thought he was role playing a real person there, and I think I'd like to teach reading or literature. What do you call it? Literature? Yeah. I think I'd like to teach that, high school, college, well, maybe college. And everybody in the group started laughing, the audience. And I said, well, that's great. So you ask about that, get a clearer picture. And I say, well, what kind of credentials or education do you have to have typically to teach like that? Oh, you got to have one of those HDPs or PDQs, or so maybe a doctorate degree. Yeah. Well, sometimes you can teach with a master's degree, and that's what I think. All right. Yeah. How much education do you have now? Where are you on that whole thing? Well, as you see, things were tough, and I never got to finish high school. And the group is laughing at him. And it caught me by saying, who am I to laugh at his dreams? Now, I don't want to take forever, but this guy's got a couple of more years or whatever, And so as we go to something out here that's unreasonable at the moment, well, have you any interest in finishing up your GED? I've been thinking about it. So now we've got something to work on. But anyway, so helping people to change their wants, say, well, let's not give up on that. Let's write that down, put that away in your journal. But let's talk about what might be realistic or attainable right here in the next few months or so forth like that. But so we can change our wants, our behaviors, and our perceptions. We had a couple of nice Zoom meetings recently where we talked about how hard it is to change perceptions. They get locked in concrete, but it takes new information and it takes other people. Number 13, yeah. Don't worry about saying something that's may not be what I have, okay?
People always have control and are responsible or accountable for their behavior.
Any other thoughts or words from people?
The last one might be choosing.
And are responsible for choosing their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I like that too. In the first blank, I've got people always have choices. We're talking about choice theory. And I want to say that in all of my training and that I do, I start trying to put the word choice in there every chance I get, kind of subtly, so that people start hearing it and opening to the idea that there are always choices around. So they may not be good choices, all right, so I've got people who always have choices and are responsible for their behavior. Number 14, we've kind of done this one already. Somebody take this one. This is a gimme.
Oh,
My
Acting,
behavior,
but acting, thinking, feeling, and physiology.
right.
Very-
And they don't have to be in any order. I do like to put acting and thinking first. But, all right. So going beyond that now, piggybacking on the concept of total behavior, the two components of those four of my behavior over which I have direct control, the most control are,
acting and thinking.
yeah, exactly. I think I said the other day that in when there was just reality therapy, it was listed in the counseling arena as a behavioral approach to counseling, which means your behavior, what you were doing. You
Mhm.
know, and Glasses said, well, what were you doing? What could you do? What are you doing? You know, do. You know, that was a do approach to counseling. When he added in choice theory, and we talked about being able to change our actions, our doing, and our thinking, it then became a cognitive behavioral approach to counseling. In my thinking, there we go. So the two components out of the four that have the most direct control, most control, are acting and thinking. Now watch this one here. I kind of backed into this one. Number 16. Therefore, if I want to change either my blank or my blank, I must change either my blank or my blank, or both. We've said it already.
Yep. Well, almost everybody's muted, so physiology, let's see, if I want to change either my physiology or my feeling, I must change either my thinking or my actions or both.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we all have our ways of teaching that. We believe it. We can tell personal stories, what have you, too. All right, jumping on number 17. Other people. We kind of did this one way back up top, just worded a different way.
Mhm.
Do not have control.
Over.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Or
Do not control my acting, thinking, feeling, vision. I do not have control over. Yeah. My wife has a younger sister, 15 years younger, and she remembers the youngster, you know, at age 2 or 3, saying to the parents, "You're not the boss of me." So she was an early choice theory learner. Number 18.
I'm blank for almost all of my behavior and can learn new ways of acting and thinking.
Good responsible work.
That's the word I've got there, Sharon. And you could have other phrases, or there may be other words. Sometimes there's not another single word that hits it as well. I'm responsible for almost all of my behavior. Now, we've had a couple of discussions in other Zoom meetings where we've said that about all behavior, and yet on the chart, you know, for example, that there are some involuntary behaviors that I don't choose. They're so, in terms of dealing with a person and the existing problem relationship in their life, these involuntary behaviors of sneezing or passing gas or throwing up have nothing to do with the issue at hand. So I'm responsible for almost all of my behavior. Who knows, 99.9. And therefore I can learn, and all behavior, we hear this forever, all behavior is learned, well, most of it, and I can learn new ways of acting and thinking. Sometimes we just need a coach. Have you ever thought of it like this, you know? This is one of my favorites here, number 19. According to choice theory, according to William Glasser, a person is never out of control. You
This
know,
goes way back to what that chart that we had years ago, less effective and more effective.
those are the exact words that I've got there. And if you draw a nice continuum, left and right with arrows at both ends, at one end is less effective, whatever it is, less effective basketball shooting, less effective keyboard skills, less effective singing on key, and over here more effective. And I probably could move in either direction more than I am now. But it's open-ended. It's infinity out there. I'm never out of control. So that phrase, I try to take that out of my, and people will say, so what's the problem with Robbie? He's out of control. Well, no, he's not. What's he doing? He's throwing chairs. He's throwing whatever, cursing, whatever. He's not out of control. He's just not currently in very effective control that helps him fit in with what we're doing right here. Less effective control, more effective control. Number 20 has got some leeway here on what words can go in there. Responsible behavior is meeting our needs without
Keeping someone else from meeting theirs or interfering with someone else meeting their needs.
Wow. See, that's why Sharon is the acting interim president of the gift board. You see that? Look at there. Boom, 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 boom. Sharon, you're so easy and gentle and low key and so knowledgeable.
Hmm.
I'm always impressed. You sit there, right? You sit quietly on top of all your knowledge, and then ever so often share a jewel with us. All right. So responsible behavior, meeting our needs or wants without infringing or interfering with other people. You know, the passive person lets other people meet. Oh no, you go ahead. You're more important to me. Your needs are more important to me. The aggressive person is my needs are more important than yours, you know, and the assertive person, Glasser never used the term assertiveness or talked about that, but this would all fit right in with assertiveness as opposed to passive behavior or aggressive or passive aggressive, those kind of things. But legitimately trying to get my needs met without running over the top of others or interfering with them. Okay, so that's I found that to be helpful in reviewing the concept, the basic concepts of choice theory, especially in a practicum setting. Now, Mona, do people have this handout? I said to them that people can, if they find it helpful, they could, you know, copy it, take it, and use it in their work. Do they get it like this? Do they have a way of getting it?
They can send me an email and I'll send it to them.
Was that, or they can,
Or
Mona,
you, either one.
I'll be happy to. And if you found it, and you might tweak it a little bit, you might retype it and put both of our names on there and put something different. All right, so Mona, why don't we close this out officially and then we can open up for ad-libbing. Hold on, Mona, just before we close it out, could we get another round of applause? I mean, I hate to start the round of applause for myself, but if I have to, I don't mind.
Hey, Wendell. Woo, 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 woo. Go, Wendell, go, Wendell, go, Wendell. Woo, woo.
We're running out of time, all right. All right, go Mona.
Well, thank you very much for presenting this. Going back up to number 18, where it talks about almost all of our behavior, there are some areas that cannot be, and Wendell brought up sneezing and so forth. Whenever we moved from up in the north and good, year-round climate, well, anyway, moved to Texas, I was unaccustomed to the heat that was in Texas, and I just began to sweat profusely. I mean, just all the time. And was embarrassed by it and all that kind of stuff. And just beginning to think about it. In fact, the lady told me one day, she said, well, if you'll have cool thoughts, you won't sweat. And I thought she was as crazy as could be. But she said she had learned to have cool thoughts. And I thought, well, I'm pretty cool, so I'll just have cool thoughts. And it really is amazing how we do have more control over our physiology than we give ourselves credit for.
Wow.
So this has been very wonderful, and we'll go ahead and close out the recording, but we're welcome to talk with others here for a while. So thank you, Wendell. It's very
Thank you.
inspiring. So thank you for being here, and those who are watching in the future, and many blessings to all.